How are you, friends? There is a great game going on in the world right now. The first player is the country that is defending its superpower status. This country is the United States of America. It is America's first priority to protect its world order. China and Russia are the other two key players in this game. These two powers are in a difficult position. They have to constantly challenge America's superpower status. Their theory is just like the Monroe Doctrine. James Monroe was the American's president who put America on the path to becoming a superpower. He presented a doctrine in 1823. This doctrine was a warning to the world powers and a declaration to become a regional power. This discussion is continued. Please do subscribe and press that bell icon. It declared North and South Americas as the American areas of influence. The European powers were barred from capturing territory in the region. No colonies were allowed. The world powers were coming in this region to control its resources. These were European powers. The Europeans colonized this region and looted its natural resources. Even the founder of the USA had also treated the Native American the same way. But now the USA wasn't willing to allow other countries to repeat the history. The Monroe Doctrine second point was a threat. Any foreign invasion would be considered an act of war against the United States. The invading power would have to fight the Americans. The third point ensured America's neutrality in the European wars. The fourth point forbade the US from interfering in the existing European colonies of the region. The fourth point was actually misleading. It all started 2 years before the Monroe Doctrine. America was intervening in the Spanish colony of Mexico. It got independence in 1821. 2 years after the Mexican independence, the United States presented its doctrine. The doctrine was presented at a crucial historical junction. The Latin America was getting independent from Spain and Portugal. You can see in the early 18s, yellow and green colors were dominating most of the Central and South America. These two colors show the Spanish and Portuguese colonies in the Americas. This light green color represents the 13 states of the United States, but in 1822, you can see various colors on the map. These colors show newly independent nations and disputed territories. Some areas were under attack by France and other European powers. At that time, the Monroe Doctrine was a smart move. The United States had barred the other powers to occupy territory in its area of influence. Now, the USA could easily establish its own monopoly in the region. You can watch this story in detail in the upcoming episode of the History of America. A superpower starts by asserting its control over its own region. No country can become a superpower overnight. China and Russia are facing the same problem. First, we look at China. Look at this region from India to Thailand and Laos to Vietnam. Then this region is stretched from the South China Sea to the East China Sea. Korea and Mongolia. This is the area of Chinese influence. China wants to establish its own regional order in the area. It wants its own Monroe Doctrine here. James Monroe had done the same in 1823. But the Chinese have a problem. This problem is India, which is under American influence. Even China's ally Pakistan trades more with the USA than China. Vietnam is also an American ally. Taiwan and South Korea totally rely on the US support for their survival. The US ships petrol the South China Sea and the East China Sea with the help of allied countries. South Korea, Japan, and the Philippines supports these patrols. China is angry but helpless in this matter. It happened even in 2022. It happened in the part of the Pacific Ocean claimed by China. Two US aircraft carriers patrolled the disputed waters. China warned the Americans to seek permission before entry, but the US ships continue to patrol the area without Chinese permission. And this way the Americans have encircled the China. China wants to break this encirclement. China also wants to impose its own world or regional order. Of course, it is possible to announce one's own doctrine, but it is just the beginning. You also have to impose that doctrine. It is to be imposed on the concerned region. Even it is to be enforced by force sometimes. China is not yet so powerful to do that. It can't follow President James Monroe. China can't stop interventions in its area of influence by other countries. China wanted to do that, but it is powerless in this regard. Then what options does China have? Is China silent? No, friends. China is working on a long-term strategy, and that's one of the most important parts of the great game. The first step is to reduce the American influence in the region. It has adopted a different doctrine than that of Monroe Doctrine. That's called winning without fighting strategy. This strategy calls for continuous competition in every field. This competition has its own dynamics. It follows no principles, laws, or even courtesy. Even the United States is not a great follower of principles. It is also a ruthless competitor. It has no moral superiority. We will also show you the American tactics in this series, but for now we are only showing you the Chinese moves. Investment in America is the centerpiece of the Chinese strategy. Before the COVID pandemic, China was investing up to 47 billion in America annually, up to $47 billion. This investment had a hidden motive. It was done to steal the American technology. Because China is far behind the United States in technology, China sends its citizens with large sums of money to form companies in America and China with Canadians and American partners. Or it works in partnership with some big American tech company. The Chinese investors specifically target big companies. These companies are mostly related to defense or artificial intelligence. These companies are mostly private enterprises. Their civilian American owners can't refuse big Chinese investment. Even those Chinese investors are usually American nationals. That's why they agreed to work with him. But a Chinese investor is not really an American at heart. He is usually a secret Chinese agent. However, not all the Chinese investors are agents. They are few and attached to secret projects. They work for the Chinese intelligence agency. Their secret is usually disclosed after many years. The company suddenly finds out a strange fact that their technology is being copied in China too. Then they suspect some foul play, some secret conspiracy. They suspect their Chinese investors, but they can't blame them directly. There are two reasons for this. First thing is that they can't seek help from the US authorities because then the American authorities would also investigate their company. The company would be blamed for the collaboration. Then media reporting would damage the company's reputation. So billionaire companies don't take such risks. Secondly, they lack evidence as well. They can't prove that their investor is an agent of the Chinese Ministry of State Security China. Then, there is another reason. The Chinese agent usually escapes before the company finds out his identity. The Chinese also bid dollar reserves as a strategy. China and Hong Kong currently hold 3.7 trillion foreign reserves. This money can easily disturb the dollar's value. The Chinese can flood the market with dollars and trouble the US economy. China's third weapon is cyber attack. The US security, space missions, and defense companies often complain about this. They say that Chinese hackers steal their data. This happens regularly. Even the US weapons manufacturer company Lockheed Martin is not safe. Its 600,000 files of F-35 and Boeing planes were stolen by the Chinese. Even the Chinese never denied this. This was a huge setback for US intelligence. They suddenly discovered that their secret technologies were being stolen. These technologies were being transferred through emails. So, this is the third step China is taking to stay updated with American technology. Now you have learned about the Chinese role in the great game. It will be explained in details in the upcoming vlogs. And we will explain the Russian role as well. There is more in upcoming episodes. Do watch next episode. Until next video, take care of yourself. Like the video, subscribe to the channel and share this.